Lad McConkey will be this year's Puka Nakua. If you don't know who that is, I'll tell you what, he lit up the NFL with the Los Angeles Rams. Matthew Stafford gave the ball to him. That was from Kirk Herbstreit, who's been watching the NFL Combine today. He tweeted this just after Lad McConkey's workouts in Indianapolis. Lad McConkey knows a thing or two about playing at Lucas Oil Field. That's where he and the Dogs won the national championship against the always triggered fan base of the Alabama Crimson Tide, or the Alabama Crimson Tide, whose fan base is always triggered. Yeah, listen, man, Lad McConkey is something else, and he like none of this is surprising. He really ran well on the with the 40. He just there's nothing not to like about him. I guess maybe his size. I mean, I don't know. There's smaller guys that play in the NFL, and if you can't catch them, then what can you do? But I love him. I mean, Lat McConkey runs a legit 4.4. It's a 4.43 today. A.D. Mitchell with a 4.35, which if you paid attention to him at Georgia, that's not surprising. But 4.43, and the ability of Ladd to get away from receivers, as a receiver to get away from other folks, he had quite a journey at Georgia. And I'm going to go through some pictures here of Ladd McConkey at that national championship game. Here he is. With the rest of, or a lot of the wide receivers on that team. Is that Christopher Smith right there? It might not be the receivers. That might, no, I can't. No, that's Kieris. Okay. Yeah, on the right-hand side. Right. Well, you can't see my mouse. But that was obviously that was a big night, a big moment for Ladd. And, he was an important part of that team. That game was not unbelievable for him. I remember this play right here. This play right here showed the confidence that Georgia's coaching staff had in Ladd McConkey. This play did not work, as I recall. This was in the fourth quarter. Ladd McConkey now this is going on memory, so don't kill me if I get this a little bit wrong. I think this was a second or first down play. And it didn't work quite the way that it looked like it should have, and it was almost a disaster, and Ladd McConkey made it not a disaster. But this was late in the game against Bama, and soon thereafter was the A.D. Mitchell touchdown. Here is the reaction from Ladd. This is still one of my favorite pictures of Ladd McConkey, James Cook, etc. This is after Brock Bowers scores the touchdown that put Georgia up 8. So if you don't remember this game and all this, triggered Alabama fans, I know you do. Georgia struggled the entire game to get going. When they get going, James Cook has a really long run after a blocked field goal attempt from Bama, and their field goal kicker did not miss. So that was a big play right after the field goal miss. Field goal block, timeout, James Cook run, eventually Zamir touchdown. Going into the fourth quarter, here comes A.D. Mitchell for a touchdown to get Georgia up 1. This is the reaction of Marcus Rosemy-Jacksaint, who you cannot see. Justin Schaefer is in your foreground here, out of focus, but he was going nuts. That's Marcus behind Brock. This is James Cook, obviously jumping, and then Ladd McConkey. They were all partying in the end zone. And it was such a big... That was Kieris. It's right there. I should have just read it. But, this right here was just before that moment where these guys were ready to win the national championship. And so, Ladd gets to go back to the place that's got to be fond for him in some way, which is Indianapolis, a place that, he got the chance to really stamp him. That was for Georgia's first national championship, but Ladd, it wasn't just that national championship. I mean, he was much more active for Georgia in 22. I'm trying to. This is dog struction right here, so it's not a great image necessarily of Ladd in here, but in 22, there were pictures. Well, there is a picture of Ladd that's pretty good. I remember this play against Georgia Tech, right here, this one, where he scored a touchdown on this play and about died getting pushed in the end zone. But Ladd McConkey has been an exceptional player for a long period of time. It's not surprising that he's doing well going into the NFL. Guys like, here it is. I don't know what I'm talking about half the time. Ladd McConkey against Auburn. And that play right there blew the game open. Like, it was kind of a blowout, and then that play right there was exceptional for Georgia. It pushed, the game was over at that point. It was that was a really long touchdown. I'm looking for how long it was, but that was Georgia's first true road game of for like 2 or 3 years. And what Ladd did in that game with that long catch for the touchdown was going to the third quarter. I very well remember what was happening in my brain, which was I'm getting out of this sun. I'm going to the other side. So I went from the Georgia sideline to the Auburn sideline because it was the way that Jordan Hare, the sun sets. The sun sets into the opposing team's bench. So Auburn, as the home team, is in the shadows the entire time. Well, in that case, fortunately, I went to the other side, which is something I very rarely do, and I got that image of Ladd running away with the catch. That was the only frame that was pretty clean. All the rest of them were either completely blown out because the lighting was so bad, or I just didn't do a good job of focusing. But Ladd McConkey made that play. But man, it wasn't just that. That was in 21. In 22, you got to think about the Oregon game, the Tennessee game, the Mississippi State game. I mean, it just never ended with him. He could just take a game over. So, and then this past season in 23 was the first year we really saw Ladd McConkey deal with injuries. This last season was the first time we really saw Brock Bowers deal with injuries. Coincidence or just football? My suspicion is just football. And guys who are smaller guys, you are going to have to, like Puka is this a good example. You're not just going to ask him to do everything. You're going to ask him to do what he really does well. And I think that in the case of Ladd McConkey, days like today at the combine are going to make his draft stock go higher, man. I mean, that's just all there is to it. He is going to be. People have been talking about him for a long time now. What he did against Florida State, I'll get to those images in a second here. But what he did against Florida State in that game, he's just something else. But then the All-Star game earlier this year, people wouldn't stop talking about him. People wouldn't stop talking about him. I got one more Ladd McConkey play here, which was this touchdown, which was on a fake. All right, this was him going into the fourth quarter, I'm pretty sure. So he wasn't playing anymore at that point. But this play right here, Ladd McConkey loves going in the fourth quarter at Georgia. A lot of these guys do. But this play right here, and I'm going to have to go backwards because I can't do it any other way. And you won't see every single thing. But he was supposed to take this play. It was a trick play. Oh, I don't have it on the screen. Sorry about that, y'all. Here we go. It was a trick play, and he knew enough to say, I can't make this play. So he just tuck it and run. Look at this, man. You're telling me this guy didn't have him? He's got his hand on his hip. But we're dipping out, baby. We're gone. And just a beautiful image, if I say so myself. Missed his toe there by a little bit. But these guys, man, you're not going to catch Ladd McConkey in the open field. He's like a little rabbit, and it's too late. It's too late, man. You're trying to get the guy, and he's gone. He's a playmaker. I'm not surprised that he's getting comparisons to really good small wide receivers in the NFL. Man, Matthew Stafford would kill for him. But, Ladd's going to have to find his way. He's going to have to figure out, well, he's not going to figure it out. He's going to get drafted, and he's going to have to take it from there. But I expect he is going to be a pretty good NFL player. Now, how long? I don't know. I mean, I don't know all this stuff. Nobody does. But if you've never seen Ladd McConkey play, if you're an NFL fan, if you've never seen complete explosion and complete burst, suddenness, all of those things wrapped up in a smaller package. That's what Lad McConkey is. This is a 27-yard touchdown through Florida State's entire defense. Now, I realize we always have to make excuses for Florida State that they didn't have all their players, but he ran through who was on the field, and it was a pretty amazing play. And it's not like that was the only time he did amazing. I mean, again, I mentioned the Oregon game. Oregon's not that bad at football. What he did at Tennessee, number 1 Tennessee at the time. What he did against Mississippi State in a freezing cold scenario. I mean, the guy is exceptional, and I'm not surprised that he's doing so well at the NFL Combine.